Hi everyone, I'm Garrett Weinzierl for the Arrowhead Center at NMSU, and I'm back with more strategies for working remotely. Tom Merritt is also back. Tom does the Daily Tech News Show, if you want to go check that out. He's returning today for our third and final video on remote workplace security. But today we're leaning a little bit more towards etiquette, or Tom, as I like to call it, netiquette.
Yes, netiquette is more important than ever. These are, just a few basic do's and don'ts for the video conference. Probably a lot of you think these are obvious, but maybe they'll be helpful to your friends and coworkers who may not find them as obvious. Let's start with prepare for your meeting. And I don't just mean prepare what you're going to say or present, although that is part of it. But I mean, if you're going to be doing something new, do your troubleshooting ahead of time. If you're going to be playing some audio or trying to play video, or maybe you're allowed to screen share and you need to find a friend or coworker to video conference with ahead of time to work out the kinks, because nobody likes to be on that meeting where people are troubleshooting in real time. It's going to happen occasionally, but if you can do everything you can to prevent it, that's good. And that applies to your shot too. You don't want it to be, going up your nose the whole time you're talking, or really dark. Or Garrett, I know you talked about this a lot, that, making sure your background isn't distracting, that it's appropriate, and all of that. So that's my first of three, is to make sure that you prepare for those video conferencing meetings, both with how you look and what you're going to do and what you're going to say.
It's preparation. We spent the last two kind of talking about being safe, and frankly, once again, I think it's going to come up in all three videos. Obviously it is, because it's going to right now.
Because it's about to, yeah.
Part of that preparation is making sure your conferencing software is up to date. Not only is it good for your own safety, because they tend to include in those updates safety measures to prevent against known security risks in their own application, but then you'll be up to date and ready to go, and you're not going to be that person, again, like you said, Tom, we've all been there, that's like, I'm sorry, I need a few minutes, I didn't do the update, I'll be right there.
Yeah. So test those things ahead of time. Whether you're preparing something or not for the meeting, make sure your shot looks good. And number 2 of 3 here is real simple. Mute yourself when you're not talking. Everybody's got something. It's a leaf blower, a kid, a dog, something happening in the background that is unexpected. And if you leave that mute off, then that's going to come through and it's going to disrupt the meeting. But if the mute's on, then you've guarded against that. And then the corollary to that, Garrett, of course, is to unmute yourself. Remember to unmute yourself when you talk.
Listen, we're both podcasters. We've definitely been there. And it's very likely we might have been there this very week. It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
And
there are some video conferencing softwares will allow you to do something like push to talk. In Zoom, you can default mute yourself and then press the space bar when you want to talk, which is an easier way to manage that rather than fumbling around for the mute button. Some will do voice, like Discord. If you're doing a conference in Discord, you can actually have it detect your voice and it keeps you muted until you actually talk. So that may be helpful.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't matter if you're in shared walls or you've got a half an acre lot. It might be a car going by. It might be the neighbor's dog in the wall you share. There's always unexpected noises. It's going to happen.
The third of the 3 netiquette tips I want to mention is to just be aware people can see you. Zoom famously shows everybody all the time. So that sort of semi-anonymity that you get in a real conference room where everyone's looking at the speaker, not at you, doesn't apply. You're right up there in front of everyone. Now, not always. Sometimes they may change the video, but that will change sometimes in the course of a meeting. So just assume people can see you. Don't be eating, don't be drinking, don't be smoking, which that's a real thing that has happened. If you're looking at your phone or your laptop, you might want to mention why, like, oh, I'm looking up the quarterly numbers or something, just so people know you're not drifting away. And for goodness sake, don't ghost. Don't get up in the middle of the meeting and wander off without at least telling someone if there's an emergency that you have to attend to or something while you're doing it. So it's just the summary here, Garrett, is remember people are looking at you.
Yeah, and a sub kind of aspect of that is they might be able to hear you if you're not using push to talk.
You haven't done the mute thing, right?
Something you just made me think of is this is especially important if you are joining the meeting via a mobile device. If you're on your phone, you can wander in the meeting, which in and of its own right might be somewhat distracting to everyone else in the meeting. But, maybe everyone's okay with it. Maybe everyone in the meeting wanders around their home on their phones, and that's just how you've decided to conduct meetings. Yeah. But remember that and don't, wander into the restroom or anything of that nature. And if you do, and you're not on video, mute your mic.
or just leave the phone in another room for that. Yeah. So to sum up here, prepare for your meeting. Both prepare your shot, and if you're presenting anything, testing that functionality, mute yourself and remember to unmute. And just keep in mind that people can see what you're doing unless you've turned off that camera.
Yeah, just be mindful. So. Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining me for these videos, and thank you everyone at home for watching. Go ahead and leave a comment below. I love answering questions. They may even spur the main topic of a future episode, or I might just answer your question. And also be sure to like and subscribe to make sure you get the next Remotely as soon as it posts. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. This video was brought to you by the New Mexico Economic Development Department, Office of Science and Technology.